All right. Let's start figuring out what these moons look like from Earth, okay? What do these moons look like from Earth? To do that, we're going to do something very similar, same figure, to what we were doing a second ago. Whichever moon you want to figure out what it looks like, turn it so that moon is at the top. And because it's a repeating cycle, we could have made any moon the beginning of the cycle. The reason that we chose moon A right here to be the beginning of the cycle, though, is because that moon is directly between the Earth and the Sun, or at least almost directly between the Earth and the Sun. So it kind of makes physical sense. We could have picked anything randomly. We picked that one, okay? So let's put moon A at the top, okay? And it's going to get a little tricky here, okay? Put moon A at the top, all right? Once we got moon A at the top, let's do this. What we need to do is we need to divide the moon in half. Specifically, we need to divide the moon into the half that Earth can see and the half that Earth can't see because it's facing away, okay? So check this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a straight line through that moon. My pen is running out of ink. Okay? Drawing a straight line through that moon. Okay? And this time it happens to line up with the shadow, but it doesn't have to. Okay? But this time it did. Let me see if this pen works better. There we go. Okay? So, now, check it out. That line that we just drew, we can get rid of everything above it because this stuff is facing away from the Earth. This stuff's facing that way. We can only see the stuff that faces this way, okay? So, because this stuff is facing the Earth, all right? Now, if we're looking from the Earth up at that moon, how much of our side of the moon is lit up right now? How much of moon A would look lit up from the Earth? How much is lit up? All of it, half of it, a little bit, none of it, right? None of it. Every part of the moon that's on the side that faces Earth is totally dark right here. All of it is dark. None of it is lit up. The lit up part of the moon faces away from the Earth in this particular place. So come on over here, flip your page back. Over here on moon A, let's completely color it in. There we go. Completely colored in. And I wish I was using a black pen right here because what we're coloring in is the shadow. So this one should be completely dark because there's no light on that moon. Does anybody know what this moon is called? Does anybody know what we call the moon when it is fully dark? Not when the sky is fully dark, but when the moon is fully dark with no light on it. Somebody actually mentioned the name of this moon a little while back. Yeah, that's called the new moon. So down here on the space that I left on the bottom, we're going to write the names. Okay, so for moon A, that's the new moon. This pen's running out too. New moon. And we call it the new moon because it's the beginning of the cycle, okay? New moon, N-E-W, okay? The new moon. Here's a quick question I have. For the new moon, is that a one-day moon or a 6-day moon? Is the new moon a one-day moon or a 6-day moon? It's a one-day moon. It's a one-day moon, okay? So that means that we can tell exactly when it's going to rise and set if we put it at the top. It's going to rise at 6 a.m. and set at 6 p.m., and it's going to be up above your head at noon. The new moon is only out during the day, okay? It rises with the sun and it sets with the sun. So that means it's very hard to see. It's hard to see because it's almost completely dark, and it's hard to see because it's out during the day. It's a one-day moon. And it has to be a one-day moon because it has to be perfectly all dark. If the moon moved a little bit over in any direction, you would see a little bit of the light side facing the Earth, okay? So that's why it's a one-day moon. All right, let's do the next moon. Put moon B at the top, and when you draw your line through it, the easiest way to get that line right is to take this arrow over here and connect it to this arrow over here. So if I do this, I'm cutting this moon in half. Again, I'm cutting it perfectly in half with a horizontal line. If I do that, I again can get rid of all this stuff up here because this stuff faces away from the Earth, right? I can't see that stuff. I can only see the stuff under here. Now this is going to be very, very important, okay? When we look at this figure right here, we can't tell exactly what the moon is looking like, okay? Here's the metaphor I like to use, okay? Here's the metaphor I like to use. What we're on this side of the page, we're looking down on the top of the head of the Earth. Imagine the Earth was a big head looking at the moon, and we're looking straight down on the top of the Earth's head. And the moon over here, imagine the moon was another person looking at the Earth. This side of the moon would be the moon's face, and this would be the back of their head. When you're looking face to face on someone, you can't see the back of their head. You can't see the back of their head. You can only see their face. But this is a view, this over here is a view of the top of their head. And over here, we're trying to draw it. What would it look like if you could actually see the face? So what this figure is going to tell us is not exactly what the moon looks like, but instead it's going to tell us how much is lit up and how much is dark, and which side is light and which side is dark. So right here, let's do this, and this will go faster after we do the first couple. If we check this out, if we're looking at the moon right here, from the Earth's point of view, just looking at this side, just looking at the face, is it mostly light or mostly dark? Mostly light or mostly dark on the face side? Mostly dark. Mostly dark. All right. And that's because if we look here, all of this is dark and there's only a little bit of light. Okay, now check this out. Here we go. Which side is the little bit of light gonna be? Is the little bit of light on the left or the right of the moon? Is the little bit of light that's peeking through on the left or right of the face? It's on the right, because if you're looking up from the Earth, this is your left, this is your right, and my right is in the light. So, when we draw the moon's face over here, we need it to be mostly dark, but with a little bit of light on the right side. Now, here's something super important. We are always drawing the moon how it looks at our zenith, so like straight over our head, okay? So when we do that, every time we draw the moon, when we're drawing the terminator, the edge of the shadow, we're always going to start the edge of the shadow at the exact top of the moon, and we're always going to end the edge of the shadow at the exact bottom of the moon. So one thing I like to do is I sometimes like to put like a little tick mark, like just a little mark at the very top and the very bottom, because I know when I draw the edge of this shadow, I want my pen to start here, and I want it to end here, okay? The only way for me to draw this right is like this. Okay? So I want the moon to be mostly dark with a little bit of light on the right-hand side, but I can only draw it starting my pen here and ending it here. So I have to bend the edge of the shadow that way so that only a little bit is lit up. And then we'll color in all of this. Like so. Okay? And the reason I'm pointing that out is that a lot of people try to draw this moon. Oh, my pen's running out again. A lot of people try to draw this moon looking like this. Can you have a moon that looks, let me zoom that in. A lot of people draw this instead of this. This is right. This is wrong. Because here, they're not connecting their shadows to the top and bottom of the moon. And also, when you look at the moon, the only part of the moon you actually can see is the lit up part. Who here has seen the moon looking like this? Who here has seen, which of you guys, have you seen the moon, yes or no, have you seen the moon looking like this? The lit up side. Oh. Got another freeze. Yes. But I'll guarantee you that you have not seen the moon looking like this, because that would be a shape like this in the sky, like a weird teardrop shape, okay? You would not, whenever you draw the moon, always look at the lit up part and ask yourself, have I seen that shape in the sky? And I'll go ahead and say we're kind of going a little long right here. This is taking a little longer than I want, but that's okay. You guys actually already said what this type of moon is called. So let's put the name in, okay? Let's put the name in for this moon, okay? This moon is called a waxing crescent moon. Waxing crescent. There we go. Sorry, my pen is starting to run out pretty badly. I'm going to use another one. Okay, waxing crescent. Let's take these words one at a time. Waxing crescent. Let me zoom that in. There we go. Waxing crescent. All right. Now, check this out. Crescent. What does it mean? That word is a shape, right? So if we look up at this moon, which part of the moon is shaped like a crescent? The lit up part or the dark part? Which part of the moon is shaped like a crescent? The lit up part or the dark part? Oh, and if you don't know what a crescent is, have you ever heard of a croissant, right? A croissant, a croissant, right? Croissant is it's a French pastry, right? You probably have had a croissant, and that's the French word for crescent, right? A croissant is just French. It sounds so fancy because it's in French, but they're literally just saying the shape of the bread. That would be like calling a hot dog bun a tube, or a hamburger bun a circle. But yeah, here the lit up part is shaped like a crescent. Why do we always name it based on the lit up part? Well, remember, the part you actually see is the lit up part. So it's only called a crescent if the lit up part is shaped like a croissant, right? A crescent, okay? All right. Now, that's what crescent means. What does waxing means? Does anybody know what waxing means? Does anybody know what waxing means? What's waxing mean? Waxing. Has something to do with the light here. Something that the light is doing. Waxing means growing. Okay? Waxing means growing. Okay? Growing. So we're calling this a growing crescent. Okay, so check this out. Before the waxing crescent, we had a new moon with no light on it at all. And right here, as the moon goes around its orbit, we're going to see more and more of its light for half of that orbit. We'll see it get more and more lit up. So as the moon gets more and more lit up, we call it waxing, okay? So the waxing half of the orbit is the half where the moon goes from no light to full light, okay? So this is a 6-day moon, the waxing crescent, and every one of those days, the crescent would grow a little bit more. The first waxing crescent is super thin, and then it slowly gets fatter and fatter. It gets to be a better and better croissant every day. Does that make sense? It's waxing, okay? Now, here we go. Here we go.